Existence dances between the infinite and the intimate. Life, it is a flame that endures the storm, a whisper in the void, a phenomena wrapped in flesh and bone. Amidst the cold expanse of the universe, life is the quiet rebellion, the heartbeat that defies the silence. And here, in the quiet embrace of golden sands, beneath that infinite sky, life finds a way. What was once dust and starfire now stands upon the edge of the world, breathing in the promise of a new dawn. For some, the beginning stages of life are blessed. A large colony and food aplenty. But for others, the earliest moments of memory are dark and vile. A trial of survival cast upon one's shoulders before they're even capable of understanding. But it is not the circumstances of one's birth that will determine who they will be. It is what they do with the gift of life that truly matters. For this young island Pteranodon, the worries of the world's problems were far away. With very few predators willing to take their chances exploring the desolate isles that dark gateways coast, we were free to relax and play to our heart's content. Our colony was large, multiple families occupying the same island together, and everyone brought back a little extra for the nesting mothers. Since we were nested in, we inherited a few wonderful mutations from our parents, the most important one being our ability to drink salt water to rehydrate. Eventually, there comes a time for all little ones to take off from the nest and provide for themselves. The family told us of a beach just up the coast with an unending supply of food, and it wouldn't take long before we discovered it. And so, that's how our childhood went. We enjoyed turtles, crabs, and pterodactyls freely, flying to and fro from the beach and our island, drinking safely from the cove's beaches, and exploring the nearby coasts. It was just after sunset when a terrible storm had rolled in. We were thinking about all the possibilities of our future and what we should do with our time as we floated lazily through the storm's gale. We landed upon Turtle Beach one last time for an easy meal. It was finally time to stretch our wings and explore the sands that stretch past the edge of what we know. We said goodbye to our family while we waited for the storm to pass, and then we ascended onward into the darkness. We flew all night long down the coast until we reached the southeast cape of Gateway. We rested while the golden rays of morning light began to illuminate the canvas before us. We were at our final stage of growth, alone with a world of possibilities before us. We needed only to reach out and grab them. We continued on our journey over the southern swamps and ended up at a small pond just outside the southern plains, when we ran into a peculiar group of Ceratosaurus. No blood, no body. Just a couple Sarahs acting really peculiar. I don't think any of my questions will ever be answered. After watching the Sarah dance, we set out to find something to eat, when we noticed something sparkle in the water. We snatched the bullfrog straight from the pond. Excited for our first meal on our own, we set out for the tree to enjoy our prize in the comfort of the canopy. When choosing where to drink, we'd always side on the safer option of flying back to the ocean. That way we didn't have to watch over our shoulder constantly. Perched. A perfect perching, if I do say so myself. Alright, Ipsy, let's see if I can't track you down, huh? We set out on a wild goose chase after hearing a Hipsy call a while ago. With any luck, they may still be in the area. They are one of my favorite creatures to hunt on the Isle. I'm really just hoping that Hipsy will call out again. Before we could ever make a move, the Hipsy was already dead. But his body wouldn't just be left to the predators. The whole herd joined together to mourn the loss of their friend and protect its corpse. There's no chance we'd get to eat that body between the Herreras and Stegos, so we switched our focus to a Trodon that we had noticed in the grass. This Trodon was pretty smart. He ran up the hill immediately and then changed directions to run back down it. If you're ever being chased by a Pteranodon, this is exactly how you escape your death. The Pteranodon has to waste way too much stamina, constantly changing elevations. And so we switched targets once again to an unsuspecting young Omni on the bank of the river. We chased and chased the little agile thing until it finally crossed the river. But unfortunately, it crossed the river directly into a pack of Dilos. Having failed 3 hunts in a row, we decided to back off and go regain our stamina in a distant tree somewhere. Yeah, drink salt water, water drains more slowly, gain thirst from eating, your food drains slower, your jump costs less, and your nutrition decays slower. All good mutations. Mutations? Mutations. Teetering on the edge of starvation, we crashed through a veil of darkness into the sands. We awoke on the southern shores of Gateway with little time left until the hunger started to tear us apart. We devoured the only thing edible in the area, the deceased carcass of one of our own. The price of our cannibalism will come in the form of muscle spasms and temporary infertility. But for now, we lived. As a first-generation Terra, we didn't have any inherited traits. If we wanted the ability to safely drink salt water, we would have to unlock the mutation. In order to unlock it, one needed to consume enough salt water to make our fluid deficiency disappear. We would fly back and forth between the swamp and the ocean, tediously drinking our fill until we made this a reality. The entire experience was rather uneventful, until a pair of Dinos tried to turn us into a snack, but weren't quite fast enough. We had finished unlocking the saltwater mutation, now we simply need to grow into it. We rested and recovered from our saltwater-induced sickness on the safety of a small swamp island. There were rarely Dinosuchus in these parts, so we didn't worry about an underwater ambush. When we were fully recovered, we returned to our familiar shores looking for another meal, only to find the Dinos were acting suspicious by dragging a turtle towards the brush. We'd lay out in the treetops to investigate. That's when we noticed a young Omni strolling right into their Dino ambush. We took advantage of the chaos and flew down gracefully from our spot in the trees to steal away the meal they left behind. I said gracefully. We ate till our nerves got the best of us, and then stole one last piece of meat for a neat hunting trick. As a young Pteranodon, if you can get a single piece of meat, you will never run out of food. You simply fly through the air with it, until a swarm of pterodactyls show up. Then you drop the food in an accessible area, and begin your hunt on the little swarm while they're distracted with the food. You can repeat this process as many times as needed in the current build. With food in our bellies, we set off to explore the marsh. As we left, we flew over top to Dinos. The lucky Omni must have escaped with his life. On our journey, we finally earned our saltwater mutation. While we followed the scent of carcass, it led us deep into the southern swamps, where a massive mud pit awaited. A feast, perhaps, but a warden lingers in the air. Beware the mud.
I can't eat or fly from this spot.
It would have only taken a moment for anything nearby to swoop in and end our lives, but we were helpless in the mud. We immediately left the swamps and headed for the river delta, where there was much less chance of us dying without being able to act.
I see a baby I could eat. There's schooling fish in the sea right there? Now that's interesting.
As the Beppy rushed onto shore in search of food, we sprang into action, eager to begin the hunt. And just as soon as our hunt ended. A Herrera decided to messily involve himself in our fight, and both parties decided to just disengage and go our separate ways. We flew around the islands for a bit and then returned when it got dark out for an easy meal. We'd spend a while here until it got too dark out, and then we'd spend another night afloat, flying back down the coast to a place we were familiar with. Somehow, a giant saltwater croc had snuck up behind us. Thankfully, the sound of his giant feet alerted us to the danger. So far, we spent our youth as far away from mothers, isolated and evolving to be able to survive easier. But we were a sub-adult terror now, and we wanted more than just basic survival. We flew inland through the vast southern jungles, and found the rolling hills of the southern plains.
There's definitely a family out here. Question is, am I too late? Sit and watch for a bit and just see. I don't have quite too much stomach to wait around with, but you wouldn't happen to be sitting on a nest now, would you? I haven't confirmed the existence of eggs yet. I feel like I'm looking at eggs. That's behavior of nesting. Okay, one's distracted. So that one goes away. Come on. Walk away, they're just eggs, you'll be okay. Go on, sit down. Do something. Yes. Keep going. Get out of here. Got it. Very cool. Just had to wait for a perfect opportunity, that's all. Where to enjoy this fine, delectable morsel? Thinking right here in this tree, if I can.
And so our taste for the egg delicacy was born, a food which provided all nutrients and easily filled our stomachs multiple times over.
That was worth all the wait. Oh yeah. Delicious.
With a bulging belly, we set off for the eastern coast, following the sands of the inlet cove and the golden rays of evening's warmth. Our needs were satiated long into the night, but when our food was gone, we returned to see if the family of Diablosaurus were still nesting in the same spot.
Okay, it looks like there's one on the nest right now, and one young hanging out nearby. I think I'm seeing that correctly. Don't even necessarily know that they have eggs right now. Look at the little potato. I mean, if I was gonna go investigate it, now would be the time. Got another one.
We soared off into the sky with the power over our tiny life in our jaws, the immense dopamine hit of another successful heist flowing through our veins. We trailed through the moonless sky like a shooting star towards a nearby forest edge and enjoy a taste of our victory, the final fuel we would use to reach our full growth stage. Our new mutations slowed our hunger and thirst decay and let us drink salt water, which was abundant around the island. With a taste for eggs, we would need to search far and wide to hunt for nesting parents.
Now then, I believe we have some work to do.
Have you ever had one of those days where everything that could go wrong does? Having failed a couple hunts in a row, we decided to take the easy way out and grab a fish from the river to eat. While attempting to land in a tree to eat, we crash land directly in front of a packy, who was probably dying of laughter at this point. As we take off, a group of pterodactyls steal our fish. At the same time, a small group of Sarahs stampede into the area and start a fight with the packy. It was right around now when we finally noticed the stego in the nest underneath. The nest was empty, but it seemed like a fresh nest. We decided to stick around the area for a while and enjoy the battle playing out before us. In the end, the Ceratosaurus lost one of their own and probably ran away, while the Pachy and the two Stegos continued to live happily in the southern plains. Since it seemed most predators were wary of this small herd, we took the opportunity to scavenge the body for nutrition. With an abundant supply of nearby food, we camped out in the tree and ate our fill, while keeping our eye on the small nearby herd. A completely planned landing. It wouldn't take long to confirm our suspicions. A Stego laid out a buffet of eggs right in front of us, and was soon joined by the father Stego and Uncle Pachy. We bided our time in the limbs of the tree, while the shadow of the mountain slowly cloaked the field in darkness. With a full stomach, we'd be able to lay in ambush for a very long time, waiting for the best opportunity to abscond with the giant delights. We thought that chance would come quickly when a pack of carners paraded themselves directly next to the herd. But they were allowed to pass freely and made no attempts at a hunt. While playing in the moonlight, the sounds of opportunity stomped their ways into our ear. The delicate melody of the mother Stego finally walking away from the nest. It looked completely clear, so there was no better time than the present to investigate. Our first attempt went wonderfully, after we once again smashed ourselves into the ground in front of the Pachy. With him thoroughly convinced we were incompetent, he would never suspect us of what was coming next.
Nice. Got one. Let's go.
We had perhaps reached a turning point in what had been a series of unfortunate failures for our privileged oceanic pteranodon.
But my egg. What? Come back here.
Or perhaps we had only reached a temporary pause. We flew out to the comfort and safety of our island paradises, hoping that absolutely nothing else could go wrong. And then it happened. Suddenly, with no warning, and far too quickly. Everything good that we had achieved vanished right in front of our eyes. Discouraged and defeated, we flew back to the mainland and took shelter in the canopy of the trees. We relaxed in the comfort of the moonlight and watched as you hit the like and subscribe button so we could finally get over 1,000 subscribers. Thanks for watching. We ended up flying for a long time and found ourselves along the river that feeds the delta. We were planning on heading back to the islands where we were born to see if our colony was still living there. Along the way, we discovered a bepi dolphin diving its way up the river.
What? I can't attack for some reason. Ah! I'm gonna lose to a Peppy because I can't attack!
Try as we might, we were unable to launch an alt bite, which would have ended the bepi's life, resulting in its deadly claws leaving us deeply wounded. And although we had killed one of them without realizing, it felt like we had once again failed miserably. We were forced to land quickly on a nearby rock when we noticed just how fast we were bleeding out. And although we were quick to act, our wounds were far too deep. The last thing we would ever hear was the cry of the bepi, as the darkness slowly consumed us. The sun crested the horizon and cast its golden rays over the wings of a full-grown red-banded Pteranodon, returning back to our primary hunting ground for another delicious meal. The family that had lived here had long since moved on, the nest abandoned and the remaining eggs left to rot. We turned our wings to the sky and set out on a great journey across the Isle in search for a new provider of eggs. search brought us to the banks of a mighty river, where the panicked howls of a boar drew our attention to a nearby group of Ceratosaurus.
Question is, am I too late? Are they already all born? Looks to me like they already had all the babies. I'm too late to get an egg. Do I take after the islander and go for the hatchling? I would much prefer the egg, but I'm too late, I'm too late.
When the parents left the children alone at the nest to go for food and water, we took it upon ourselves to get a closer look at the menu.
Yeah, they've already had all the babies. There's nothing I can do about it. Oh, I'm too late. Now that Mom and Daddy are back, not really a point to keep fighting.
We flew back to the coastal waters after our missed opportunity along the river, with the same goal still in mind.
Dear Dinosaur. And that's why you don't drink from that water, because there could be a baby. And as a Terra, you are a mighty tasty meal to a baby crocodile, let me tell you. He would be happy to eat you in that swamp. What is that? Little Omni? I don't have to, but I kind of want to.
We took our fresh hunt out to the safety of the sandbar and enjoyed a satisfying oceanfront lunch. Before donating the rest of the body to the swamp puppies. The next time we stopped for a break was on the northern side of the Isle, at a place known as Water Access, a great lake with a giant dam that feeds the great river all the way down to the delta. The fields around the lake were teeming with carnivores, and the waters themselves were packed full of hungry growing Dinosaurs. Although we didn't find any nesting pairs, we were quite interested in seeing what kind of trouble we could get into here. We stole a fish directly from the mouth of a croc, which we don't recommend anyone try to duplicate. A small squad of dilos were roaming down and across the dam, which caught our interest enough to follow along for a little while. While waiting for them to catch up, we spotted a young Sarah on his own, heading directly into the pack. What a better chance to cause a little chaos. When the little Sarah got close enough to the dilos, we made an attack to alert the others of the Sarah's presence, which seemed to work wonderfully. What we didn't expect was a fight to break out between all the young dilos and a group of Sarahs that were following shortly behind the now deceased target. While the large Dilo was busy protecting his young companions, we swooped in and filled our belly with the rest of our original target. We'd rest atop the dam and continue to watch the aftermath of the fight. The Dilos appeared to have lost one, while the Sarahs lost 2 or 3, which meant even more food for us after the victors moved on. We sat there and watched while one of the little ones lost his footing too close to the lake's edge and found a croc waiting with jaws wide open. Now there was only 2 Dilos remaining. The remnants of the once mighty Dilo pack drifted away, their silhouettes vanishing into the mist as they crossed over the dam. But we remained, feasting beneath an open sky, indulging in the spoils left behind. Only when the night stretched deep into its quiet hours did we finally take to the skies. And high above, the red-banded Pteranodon soared once more, its wings carving through the clouds, chasing the winds of fate. A wanderer, a thief, forever searching for the next nest to claim, the next story to etch into the Isle's infinite skies.